to connect with you. It's a beautiful day. The sun is always shining, no matter what, right? The sun is always shining, no matter what. Um, Meaning it could be cloudy outside. It could be very cloudy outside, but you know what? Above the clouds, the sun is always shining. So I heard a Buddhist teacher say one time, God's love is always shining. Sometimes you just have to open the blinds, right? Like that's the piece of how do we connect with that which is constantly broadcasting its goodness, even when we can't see it, even when it seems to be cloudy. So welcome everybody as you're streaming in. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you all for joining. Today's topic, heal yourself with love, is just about what I was talking about. That even in spite or even because things seem a little cloudy, doesn't seem like the goodness is shining through in life, it's there, even when we can't see it. How do we access that? How do we access that? And the way we access that is through healing ourselves and lifting ourselves above confusion, lifting ourselves above the lower vibrational frequencies of fear, doubt, worry, lack, limitation, not enoughness, insufficiency, all of those frequencies that keep us lower, right? And now there's nothing wrong anywhere on that spectrum. It's all good, it's all God. And what we know is the higher vibrational frequency, the lighter we are, right? And so that's what we're talking about. How do we heal ourselves from those lower thought forms, those lower vibrational frequencies, those things that hook us, right? That distract us, our personal sirens, right? Those things that cause us to jump into compulsive behavior, self-doubt, self-recrimination. How do we avoid the call of those personal sirens? I want to tell you a story that Pema Chodron brings up in one of her books, and it reminded me of a story. Reminded me of the story that we all know of Ulysses, right? Ulysses was one of the kings from Greece that went to fight against Troy, right? And Ulysses comes. He's returning home from Troy, and he has to pass through. He has to pass through the Isle of the Strait of the Sirens. And if you remember from Greek mythology, the sirens are these women, these mermaids, these sea creatures that have a call that no man can avoid, no man can resist. And it causes the sailors to crash their boats on the rocks of the shore. It causes them to jump into the sea and drown themselves. And the myth goes that if you can if anyone can withstand the call of the sirens will lose their power. So Ulysses, what does he do? He's like, I want to hear those sirens. I want to hear their call. But I also want to get home. So he instructs his men to tie him to the mast of the ship, to tie him down like tight. He can't move. And that way he can't react to the call of the sirens. And he says to them, don't let me loose no matter what I say, no matter what I command. Do not untie me until we get to this other point, past the sirens. And then he instructs his crew to put wax in their ears so that they don't hear the call of the sirens. And of course, Ulysses gets to the other side. He hears the call of the sirens. He resists the call, and the sirens lose their power. Now, how did he resist the call? He set up a structure that would help him, support him, even in the discomfort of the journey. And he created a structure that supported him in fulfilling his intention. He got his guys, his crew in alignment, put wax in their ears, told them what to do, tied him to the mast, right? And he got to the other side, and the sirens lost their power. How many of us have those personal sirens in our lives that call us off course, that have us crash the ship of our soul on the rocky shores of fear, doubt, worry, lack, limitation, not enoughness? And they distract us, and they pull us off course. we have structures. This talk today is about healing ourselves with love because there's 4 practices that create a structure that support us in resisting the call of the sirens of the lower vibrational frequencies. I want to acknowledge that the idea for this talk came from a beautiful article written by Pawan Bareja called Healing 4 Ways to Heal Yourself with Love. It's in a beautiful magazine, a Buddhist magazine called The Lion's Roar. And so I want to acknowledge that this talk came from reading this article. It was so impactful for me personally. I wanted to share it with you. So what are the structures? What are the 4 structures that will help us heal ourselves to resolve the trauma that keeps us in pain and suffering? And by trauma, it could be something as benign as something that happened in childhood, or it could be something severe, right? Anything on that spectrum. Trauma is basically pain and suffering. And from the perspective of plant medicine, from the perspective of any spiritual practice, Buddhism, we want to resolve our trauma, resolve our suffering, not by denying it, not by jumping into compulsive behavior or numbing ourselves, but by going right into it, just like Ulysses did. He went right into the Straits of the Sirens and created structures that supported him in not getting caught in the call of those distracting lower vibrational frequencies. So what are the 4 practices? These are 4 Buddhist practices that I found, it's like we all know this stuff, we've heard them before, but they were so impactful to me hearing it again. So the 4 practices are loving kindness, compassion, joy in the success of others, and equanimity. Loving kindness, compassion, joy in the success of others, and equanimity. I'm going to go through each one of them because it's something that we can do right now for ourselves that heal those places within us that are seeking to be brought to the light. Those things that, the self-doubt, the self-recrimination, the judgment and opinion of ourselves and others that cause us, you can feel it, right? You can feel it when you start having that conversation. There's somebody you have an argument with, there's somebody you're in conflict with, and you're thinking about it, and you're having that conversation with them in your head, right? I do it all the time. And you can feel your energy frequency drop. You can feel the contraction. You can feel the myopathy, right? That limits our view, that narrows our perspective. And all of a sudden, all I see is this. They did this to me, right? It puts us in victim consciousness. So these 4 practices, loving kindness, compassion, joy in the success of others, and equanimity, will help us lift ourselves above confusion. And oh my goodness, I forgot to look at the chat. I just remembered. Hi, everybody. I was like, nobody's commenting, but I didn't have the chat on. Hey, what's up? So glad you're here. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so first practice, loving kindness. This is a meditation practice. This is also just a practice we can do every moment when we notice ourselves getting caught. Wow, we got India in the house and North Carolina. Hey, everybody. Pakistan. Wow. Love you guys. And Dorota and Benny. Hey, wow. Everybody from Poland. Oh my goodness. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm looking here at the chat. Italy is in the house. Houston, Nushin, hello. Much love to you, Basel. Hello. Wow. Thank you all so much for being here. Alaska in the house. Netherlands. What? This is international, baby. Okay. Well, let's get to the meat of it. But and I'm gonna now I have the comments and the chats up so I can see y'all. So the first practice, loving kindness. This is where we can open our hearts, right? To get into our heart space. Loving kindness is practicing that love for our enemies, for those who have hurt us. Now, it can be difficult to go right to that spot. So we begin with loving kindness for our benefactors, for someone who's done something really nice for us, for someone who has uh, benefited us, has loved us, has shown us kindness, right? We start with where it's easy. So in your meditation, or even in your walk, or even when you are feeling the contraction of lower vibrational frequencies, my little microphone is kind of moving around here. So even when you feel the contraction, you begin to locate yourself and open your heart by thinking of someone who you really love and who loves you without condition. It could be the love of a grandparent. It could be the love of a pet or a child. It could be a moment in nature, right? Begin to open your heart in loving kindness by recalling a time when you felt unconditional love. This is not love that you received because you did something or you got a good grade or you accomplished something. It's not love of an accolade. It is they love you or you felt love just because you were you. No other reason. This is the beginning of loving kindness. And then you can move to maybe someone who hurt you a little bit, like not a big trauma, but that person kind of pissed me off. You can begin to cultivate that loving kindness in your heart space for them. And then you move when you're comfortable to someone uh, who has really harmed you, right? So beginning to cultivate loving kindness is the beginning of healing our traumatic wounds. And it may invoke a fight or flight mechanism, right? When you get into the trauma, someone's really hurt you. So that's why I'm saying begin with a benefactor, begin with someone who's easy to love and expand it little by little. This begins to open our heart. Opening the heart is the key because the heart literally is the middle point between your upper chakras and your lower chakras. It's the bridge. In the same manner, we are the bridge between the celestial, the infinite wisdom and intelligence, the formless substance of the divine intelligence, and Pachamama, the manifest earth, the womb of creativity, the womb of birth, of creation, right? So we're the bridge. Our heart space is a little miniature of that. And so we want to begin by opening our heart space. We want to begin by opening up the aperture with love. And we do that by creating this field of love, by remembering those who love us unconditionally and gradually extending that out to those who we might not resonate with, and eventually expanding that out to people who have really harmed us, so that we move out of victim consciousness. I want to stop here and just acknowledge some comments. So Niloy says, what about people taking kindness for granted? Well, we must being loving and kind does not mean we're a doormat, and we must set boundaries for ourselves and for others. And there is if you leave a person's presence and it feels like you've given a quart of blood, avoid that person, right? There's nothing, being loving and kind doesn't mean you have to like everyone, right? Deepak Chopra says, love is like the heat of a fire. It is denied to no one and focused on no one. This is the practice of loving kindness. Now, in action, in activity, in life, someone's taking advantage of you, someone is not reciprocating, it doesn't feel good, then you can choose how you want to interact with them. It doesn't mean that your love of life can't be shared with them in your loving kindness practice, but I'm not going to extend myself in the physical in this moment for that person. I need to, because look, love is the extension of oneself for the genuine care and nurturing of first your own and then another's spiritual, mental, physical, emotional well-being. You've got to make sure that your own spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional well-being is tended to so that you can then take care of others. So to answer your question about people who are taking your kindness for granted, make sure you're taking care of your own spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional well-being so that you can then extend yourself and take care of others. I want to acknowledge Durham, North Carolina. Thank you. Barbara says that hearing a bird sing in nature is what brings her loving kindness. Beautiful, beautiful. Why do I cry? Jenny says, when I think of people who love me unconditionally, because unconditional love is so beautiful. It's overwhelming. It's just, it's their tears of joy. It's absolutely beautiful. Beautiful, Dorota. Thank you, thank you, thank you. New Zealand in the house. Good morning. Tapping helps to get out of fight or flight. Yes, absolutely, Benny. I absolutely agree. And will meditation work for that? Meditation works. I don't know if I understand your question, Niloy, but the intention of loving kindness in meditation is to begin to open the heart and to begin to open our perspective, right? And then the next step is compassion. Compassion for ourselves and compassion for others. We can begin to cultivate a sense of compassion. These are mind states, right? So this isn't activity. This is mind state. And thank you, Anna. Love you. So we're now cultivating from opening up our heart through loving kindness. We now cultivate compassion for ourselves and for others by first recognizing that whatever we are feeling, there's probably at least a couple million people on the planet right now at this moment experiencing that, right? So this begins to locate us the fact that we're not alone. So oftentimes when I'm in the throes of self-doubt and recrimination and beating myself up, and I can't believe I said that, what do they think of me, and all of that stuff, right? I begin to think when I'm conscious, I can begin to think, oh, there's a lot of other people probably feeling the same thing right now on the planet. And I can not connect with their trauma in a victim way, but connect with it in a way that, like, I'm not alone in this. There are other people experiencing that. That begins to soften my heart. It begins to give me compassion because I can beat myself up when I think I'm the only one experiencing this. I'm so stupid for thinking this way. I'm so stupid for feeling this. I can't believe I'm still going through this in my mind. I've been working this work for so long. I'm still having these thoughts, right? That's where you go. Then when you click into, oh, millions of other people in this very moment are experiencing what I'm experiencing, begins to open up our hearts and compassion. And we can begin to be compassionate for their suffering, move us out of our own self-centered suffering. And we begin to relate to their suffering, and it brings compassion for ourselves and for others through this practice of connecting. When we meet our own suffering, we meet the suffering of others. So we know, what is our relationship to our suffering, and can we bring some softness and some compassion to ourselves for what we're going through? Maybe, that part of you that, like, when I'm in that throes, I can't believe I'm still thinking this stuff. I should be past this. I'm on this path. I'm putting myself up on Facebook talking about spiritual stuff, and I'm still having these thoughts, right? Maybe we can begin to ask, what does that need? That part of myself, what does it need? Do I need to maybe give myself some compassion and love? Do I need to just take a moment and maybe see if that's that inner child, that little part of me that feels left out or abused? Like, just check in with yourself once you locate compassion for others and see, what is that part asking for? What is that part of you asking for? Is it asking to be soothed? Is it asking to be loved? Do you want to just hold yourself for a minute? Like, this is how we begin to cultivate compassion. So the first two, loving kindness, opening up our hearts, and two, it needs laugh and embrace. Yes, Bessel. And the second part is compassion. The third part is joy for others' success. Before I move on to that, I want to acknowledge some more comments. We got Heidi from Rochester, New York. Hello, Heidi. And it's much easier to have compassion, Lauren, for others than myself. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why with compassion for others begins to help us be compassionate for ourselves. So that's one of the keys to bring us back to compassion for ourselves. Hello, Claudia from Colorado. Thank you so much. And Rahul Kumar, when I close my eye and try to meditate, all the people come along with a flash who hurt me. So this is where we begin, Rahul, to first begin to open our hearts with loving kindness for those benefactors, for those people who have loved and supported you. And the mantra, Letitia says, Archangel Michael, my heart is open. Michael, come sit in my heart. I love that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Russell from Texada Island, BC. Nice. Tornado Joe, come in. But yes, thank you, brother. Let's see what Carrie has to say. All right, I'm going to move on here really quickly to, I'll look at Carrie's comment in a minute, but I want to move on to joy in the success of others. So a third mind state. First mind state is loving kindness, opening ourselves up with compassion. Second, opening ourselves up to our heart up. The second is compassion by relating our other people's suffering with our own begins to help us soften towards our own and be compassionate with ourselves. And third is joy in the success of others. This is an ancient Buddhist practice. And this is something we should do daily. I've begun doing this because, in this world, you see other people succeeding, and I'm going to be honest, I get jealous. Jealousy and envy come up, right? Some of the deadly sins. But I got to be honest that's a part of it. Hey, well, look at their success, and I feel like I'm missing out, or I'm behind, or I should have been doing that, or all the things that can bring me down lower by lower with these self-recriminating thoughts, beating myself up, judging myself. So the practice is to be super joyful for everyone's success, like authentically step into joy for their good fortune. Because the truth is, LJ, yes, you can rewatch this on YouTube, the Rhythmia YouTube channel, on my johnjacobmubarak.com page, on Rhythmia's Facebook page, on my website, on my Facebook page, on it's on Rhythmia. You can type in Rhythmia, you can type in John Jacob Mubarak, it'll come up. Joy for the success of others is key because the principle is we are one. There is no separation and no distinction. We come from one source, one life. It is in, through, and as us, all around us. And so I can't do anything to hurt you without hurting me. I can't do anything to help you without helping me. This is the mistake we make. I think, it's a zero-sum game. I'm going to get what, but if I can't reach it and grab it, I'm going to grab it before you, right? That actually is a malpractice of the law. It's malpractice because the truth is your good is my good. My good is your good. And when we begin to reframe somebody else's success as my success, that if they can do it, it means I can do it. I'm so happy for your success because your success means that energetic frequency is mine as well. You begin to embody that frequency of success. And we know that the universe is made up of frequency and vibration, sound and light. And everything is frequency and vibration. And everything is resonant and harmonious. And when we resonate joy at the success of others, that success is my success, we're bringing that vibrational frequency into our awareness. And guess what? That is what is going out into the creative medium that responds to our thinking and our feeling. So loving kindness is actually, Stephanie Ginsburg, I love you, sister. Hello. Loving kindness is actually a great opportunity to bring joy into your life. Joy in the success of others is an amazing opportunity to bring joy into your life because it gives you 7 billion chances. The Dalai Lama says, gives you 7 billion chances to be happy. 7 billion ways to bring joy into your life if you are genuinely excited for the success of others. This has been a wonderful practice for me and has helped me anchor so often into the realization that your good is my good. And I don't have to worry about, oh man, I didn't get, I should have been doing this. And no, everything in its own time. You can't rush the oak tree out of the acorn. Every season, everything has its pattern. We look to nature for this. So I don't have to be worried. The fact that someone else's success is coming into my awareness means that I'm vibrating at that frequency. And the more I can invite it in, the more I will attract it. That's the truth. That's the law. It's happening all the time. We might as well use it to a definite effect. That's the truth. Okay. Finally, let me look at these comments here really quickly before I move on to the last part of our topic. Imagine to be hurt by someone we do our internal work. If you are present to responding to internal work instead of drawing a boundary. Okay, no, Marjik, this is not making us a doormat. This is actually creating those boundaries for us. The work is done in consciousness. And the promise is that the revolution is not going to be televised. It's not going to be on Facebook or TikTok. It's not going to be written about. The revolution is in consciousness. And as we begin to cultivate these mental states, our external world will transform. You will be impervious to the lower vibrational frequencies of others. You will be, it truly is the psalm that reads, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, the Lord is my buckle and my sword. It is my protector. The Lord in this instance is the law. The law is your protector. The lawful use of the universe. This is what righteousness really is. The right use of the law. That's righteousness. And the Lord is the law. And so when you cultivate these kindness and compassionate states of mind, these mental states, you are utilizing a universal principle and law that becomes your protector, and you become impervious. Nay, no harm shall come near your dwelling. So we don't have to even worry about others taking advantage of us. So Kristen is asking to define success. Well, success, soulful success. Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith had a whole talk about soul success, is when we continuously excavate the parts of ourselves and catch the vision that is seeking to emerge through us. This is success. Success is delivering your gifts and talents. Success is being a contribution to society, to our culture. Success is not withholding things. Success is being fully expressed. Success is being a participant in the unfolding of purpose and people and planet and abundance, profit. Those are the 4 P's of success in the business world: people, purpose, planet, and profit. This is how we define success. What success is for you specifically, Kristen, is how you choose to deliver your gifts and talents, how you choose to be a contribution to your community, how you choose to be self-expressed. This is success. So finally, I'll get to your comment. I'm going to talk about money in life, Niloy, but I want to finish our final topic, our final structure to support you through your journey through the straits of sirens that call us off course to the lower vibrational frequencies on the rocky shores of self-doubt, worry, self-recrimination, fear, enoughness, right? How do we get through those straits? Compassion, love, and kindness, joy in the success of others, and finally, equanimity. What is equanimity? Equanimity is just what I was talking about a little earlier, about the seasons and the stations of life. That we know that everything comes and goes. There is There is a season to everything. Winter always becomes spring. Night always becomes day. The planets are spinning without any human interference or compulsion. Life happens without us having to do anything. When we expand our awareness into this greater sense of the unfolding of life, it begins to help us rest in the coming and going of our life events, right? Equanimity is, balance between feeling your feelings and not getting carried away with them. This is what the author of this article, Pawan Baraja, says. How I would say it is, feel your feelings, but don't pitch a tent there, right? So feel what you're feeling. Don't suppress. Don't deny. Experience what you're feeling. The whole practice is to go into the pain, go into it. Don't reject it. Don't push it away. But in our going into it, cultivating loving kindness, opening our hearts, in our going into it by having compassion for ourselves and compassion for others, being joyful at the success of others, softening ourselves, then brings us to a place of equanimity where we begin to see that the pendulum always swings one way or another. And as great as the swing is one way, it is going to go the other way. Now, here's this final piece about the pendulum. The pendulum has a still point, has a rod, it has a bob at the bottom, right? And it swings one way to another. Now, the swing down at the bottom is great, but up here at the top, the swing isn't as great. Down here, it's moving, but up here, it's not moving as much, right? Now, this is equanimity, that we know that the pendulum's going to swing one way or the other. The more we can keep ourselves lifted closer to that still point, the more we can keep ourselves lifted above confusion of fear, doubt, worry, not enoughness, self-judgment, self-recrimination, condemnation. All of we are liberated more and more by opening up our hearts. This is not becoming a doormat again. This is opening our hearts, coming to a place of equanimity, coming to a place of loving kindness and compassion. It lifts us above confusion, being mired in the lower frequencies of life. We're in the world, but not of it, keeping ourselves lifted. The swing of those vicissitudes of life become less and less. So that's it. That's our talk for today. Rick Everett, up. Replay, love it. Yes, again, you can go on YouTube, type in Rhythmia, type in John Jacob Mubarak, type in Walking the Path. You can go to my webpage, johnjacobmubarak.com. You can go to my Facebook page. You can go to Rhythmia's page, anywhere. Thrilled that you want to hear the replay. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us, for joining me. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. And I know that that these ancient wisdom, compassion, loving kindness, joy in the success of others, and equanimity will help you, as it has helped me, to navigate the straits of those sirens that call us off the course, and have us get snagged on the rocky shores of self-recrimination. Remember, condemnation does not liberate. Condemnation does not liberate. Only love does. Only love. Peace and blessings, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I look forward to talking to you soon. Reach out to me, direct message me. I'd love to talk to you. I'm getting better at responding, so please do. Much love, peace, and richest blessings.